things that I've learned throughout my career. People don't like to talk about this because it feels, to some people, icky. But the only reason why it feels icky is because they're going into a situation with what I'm going to call bad intentions. Namely, being unaware of the value of social capital when you're trying to navigate the workplace is like trying to run a marathon without training. Now, don't talk to me about the exceptions to this rule, right? And the reason why I say that is because we see over and over again mediocre men being promoted for roles over women. We see it. We don't even need to talk about it because we already know. And most of the time, going back to being aware and being strategic that I talked about in one of the other videos, is that we underestimate just how important social capital is. And we underestimate the need to build that. Now, in my other video, I talked about awareness. And the reason why I talked about awareness and the note that I left it on was the continued desire and drive to bring value to others. That has to be your value proposition in building social capital. Because in most situations, if you're going to approach a person who is super senior and powerful with that, I can do this for you, well, based on their seniority, they're not going to believe you anyway because they've got where they've got to without you. And actually, it's you that needs their help. I mean, it's you that needs their help. So it's a very, very, very different prospect. I'm being skied at. It's a very, very, very different prospect when you voluntarily, out of interest, not just because it's to get you somewhere, out of interest, build a relevant and relatable knowledge base. What do I mean by that? I think in many of the millions of videos I've made, what I talked about was I recognize that one of my skills is being able to take in a lot of information in a very short amount of space of time. Very short space of time. Is that right? Or have I added an extra word? Anyway, you know what I mean. So that usually meant that I've always been very good at reading a lot of emails, getting a lot of information, and piecing those puzzles together because I'm curious by nature. Curious / nosy / fast, depending on where you're from. So I've always wanted to know, which also means that I took in a lot of information. I managed to figure out a lot of things and I pieced puzzles together, and I was often in situations where I could add an opinion because my curiosity had meant that I'd researched a topic that wasn't directly related to what I did, but was directly related to what other people did. So all of a sudden, I wasn't just seen as someone who could do their job. I was seen as somebody who knew a lot in detail about many things. Now, that doesn't have to be your particular strength. But the point about it is that in being a person who adds value, you have to add value in a way that's authentically part of your skill set. So that I would say the first step is isolate what your superhero skill is, if you have one. But isolate what your skill is, and isolate how can you build that to the benefit of others within your business, thus showing that you are an asset, which then allows you to build social capital. Now, it sounds tiring and it's not easy work, but I did all of this accidentally. I can't claim I had a theory. I didn't. You know, like with many things, people figure out a methodology, or they figure out why certain things work because they've done it several amounts of time, but it was part of their natural makeup. So I think about it like that, right? I can't claim that I did this deliberately because I didn't. My natural makeup is such that this is how I operate. But what I can say is having that mindset definitely creates that same outcome. A drive and keeping and maintaining curiosity because you want to help other people will always make you an asset and a value add person rather than a net taker as somebody who's trying to get something out exclusively from a transaction. I didn't even know this video was going to take this turn, but yeah, because a lot of times people tell you to do things and they make it out to be a methodology, but they did it by accident. They stumbled upon this. They didn't, and that's completely fine. But that's all I wanted to say. It's nothing that I did on purpose, but looking back now, this is what I've learned from this, because it's happened in several times, several occasions, not just in the workplace, and the outcome is still very much the same.